What's up guys, Sol Invictus here. Long time no see. This time I am going to bring a battle that was fought in between myself and Monstro das Punhetas. So Monstro will be using Egypt. I think I picked Arevacii and he picked Egypt and I counter with Arevacii. Monstro is a very strong Egypt player, so definitely not to be underestimated. That's why I went for a faction that I believe stands a good chance versus Egypt. So let's jump right into it. Okay, for my build, we're going to have one noble horseman, two of those, I think they're called Scutari horsemen, two light cav, one Balearic slingers, two Iberian slingers. This is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Scutari sword, two naked warriors, I think they're called, and 5 Scutari spears. It's going to be facing against, this is going to be 3 Galatian. And yeah, I'm gonna go over his build once it's on the deployment phase. So as I counter, I knew that Monstro would be expecting noble fighters, so I decided to go for a build that's more of a mid-tier sword, pretty strong everywhere if you look at it. Very decent cavalry. Well, it's not very good cavalry, but versus Egypt it's going to be perfect, I think. Very good meat shield spears, good enough to win the meat shield engagement, that's for sure. Decent skirmishing force, able to cause some damage really, and some shock value with those painted warriors, sorry. Yeah, some nice shock value with these guys, 32 charge bonus, decent melee stats actually. And those Scutari, they're very good unit, especially versus a faction like Egypt. But you're going to see Monstro's build is pretty strong. Let's fast forward a bit. Bam, there you go. His cavalry is going to be utter shit. It's going to be one light cav, and one light camel spearmen, and also one Egyptian cav. So very light cavalry department. As for his main line, we are going to see Thorax Swordsman. That's 3 Thorax Swordsmen, 3, I believe, Galatian Royal Guard, 2 and 3, yes. So those Galatian Royal Guard, definitely a danger to this this type of army. Even if I had my my noble fighters, they are pretty much screwed in a head-on engagement versus Galatian Guard. Okay, there's going to be Turo spears. I believe it's only 2 of them. No, 3 Turo spears, 3 Egyptian slingers. I think this is too much versus Arevacii. Nubian spear, that's 2 of them. Very well thought build. Carrion axeman, that's going to be 2 of them, including his general. This is a very wild pick, but I think it's the right thing to do with Egypt. It's going to allow you to use funds pretty much everywhere else. Shitty general, just don't engage with him. And Carrion axemen are okay for that. Their main downfall is their very low armor, so they're going to be extremely susceptible to cavalry. And I do have decent cav ready to collide. So let's press play. Okay, build-wise, it depends on where you see it. I mean, this was a surprise build. I knew he was expecting noble sword, so I went for something a bit different. I've done that with Arevacii a few times, and it actually works. So rather than relying on few elite sword, like let's say I would go for 3 or yeah, I think 3 noble sword would be the max. Let's say I would go for 3 noble fighters. There is 3 units upon which I rely really to get my kills and etc. So basically the opponent has 3 units to counter, just like me in this situation. I am facing those 3 Galatian Royal Guard. I decided to opt for combos rather than standalone units. So I believe this is harder to counter for another player. So right there we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, yeah. So this is 10 units. All together they do 5 good combos, right? So the Scutari spear and the Scutari are very good units, and when you mix them you get a nice combo. So this is going to be nice, 5 nice combo he has to counter rather than 3 nice units, just like me in this instance. Plus well supported by decent cav, good missiles unit. I think this is a strong build, and as I said, I decided to put my fate in the end of combos rather than units. Maybe it doesn't make sense, but it sounds right to me. So yeah, let's press play. As you see, Montreal really is the only danger that I'm going to be facing is those Galatian Royal. So I only have 3 units to be wary of. That's pretty much what's happening right there. Also, of course, Wallace Carrion and etc. If they get nice jabs in there, but it's easy to be to counter that. So Mancho is going to push forward with his 3 Egyptian slingers. I'm gladly going to accept this fight if he decided to, but he is not going to make that mistake. He's going to push his whole army as he do it. Though I will seize the opportunity. You're going to see this Galatian Royal Guard right in the middle. I'm going to focus all my slingers on there and advance my army. So like that, my slingers are in a good position, very comfortable to just fire, sit back there. They're not under imminent threat. So, okay. So far, Galatian Royal Guard not taking any casualty. That's for sure. They have kind of decent armor. It's not amazing armor, to be honest, but it's okay-ish. As he turns his flank, he is going to start to take some casualty. And you're going to see the move I'm going to do. Right now, the only way I can damage these units is really by outmaneuvering and by causing damage in the initial missile fight, and then I can engage melee-wise. You're going to see Monstro sending in those Camel Spearmen. I do not think this is the way you should be using those guys to blunt my Scutari Spear. That's okay decision. Though I don't see why he doesn't have units like really ready to commit to that fight. Well, he does, but they're kind of far away. This Galatian Royal Guard closing in. This is definitely scary. As you're going to see, I bring in my Iberian Cav. I pop Fancy Charge for the speed and also the charge bonus for sure, also moral. And I am going to pin down those Galatian Royal Guard, which will allow me to get some extra volley off. So far, we are both doing good. I think he is taking the engagement relatively well, regardless of that being a bit hasty in my opinion. Those Nubian Spear getting engaged by Scutari. Here I get a jab volley into those Royal Guard. And look at them. They're taking a lot of damage actually. 7 kill on the Iberian Cavalry versus those Galatian Royal Guard. That's respectable. Here he is going to commit his Thorax sword. I'm going to try to blunt with Scutari, not successfully. Painted Warriors going to get a very nice charge in there. Thorax swords also there are going to attack those Scutari. I am going to blunt once again those Galatian Royal Guard with a fancy charged. Let's take a second to look what's happening. Now those Galatian Royal Guard are going to engage as a standalone, which is good. I mean, if you look at it, they can just utterly destroy this whole wing, literally, especially that they're backed by Levitieros to potentially hurt my cavalry if I try to flank him. Right here, Thorax Swordsman doing a decent job, getting a lot of kill. Painted Warriors getting 15 kill on the charge. And those Scutari, that's why I love the Scutari. They're so steady that they're not going to melt off right away, which will allow me to get few charge with Painted Warriors. Right here, Thorax Swords are going to engage. Those Celtiberian Cav did a good job right there. And I do not... Yeah, look, these guys, they took already 20 loss. This is terrible for them. They won't be efficient anymore. Not as much as they should be. Here, very easy. I'm just going to pull off. I will decline this engagement. I might decide to blunt the charge. No, actually, I won't. Scutari there. I'm going to be able to use many units versus these guys. And this is definitely a miss micro by Moncho das Punhetas. He was busy microing elsewhere and he got caught off guard, getting sandwiched between Iberian and Scutari and then getting charged by Scutari. Painted Warriors there are starting to lose versus the Thorax Swords. Galatian Royal Guard getting wrecked by the Scutari at this point because they were so damaged by the Iberian Slingers. He is closing by with this unit of Galatian Royal Guard. Scutari Spear there in a bad position. So as you see so far, it's looking bad on this side, definitely for Moncho, and this is what I meant earlier by you only have to focus on countering a single unit. Now he has a lot of unit that works well together. Scutari, they are going to get a nice charge into the Galatian Royal Guard. Since the Galatian didn't get their charge, are going to have an extremely rough time. pulling back. And you see those Qatari are still in the fight regardless of how bad they're getting wrecked. Painted Warriors getting back for a charge. Thorax Swordsmen, they're doing a decent job, but they won't make it through those Qatari, that's for sure. Thorax Swords on this side getting wrecked also. Qatari, they're intercepting those Tyros. These Tyros could have been extremely dangerous for those Painted Warriors, but I got in them at the right. Galatian Royal Guard there. These guys have the momentum. They got their charge in. Qatari, they don't have the best charge, but I'd rather do cycle charge than leaving those units in this fight forever. As you see, those Galatian Royal already off the battlefield with not enough kill, that's for sure. Iberian Slingers still healthy, all of them, and I do have a decent Cav Contagion to back him up. Here I'm going to pull away from those Galatian Royal Guard and unleash Hell upon them. Carrion Axemen there are going to drop eventually, that's for sure. I'm gonna leave those Qatari Spearmen in the fight when I see those Galatians. This Levi Tyros coming in for some shot into my Slingers. I'm going to deny them with the Qatari. So as you see at this point, I do not see how Monstro can come back from this. I think he assumed what type of build I would have too much, and just the good flexibility of this build proved him wrong, basically. Egyptian Cav there, missed my crawl on my behalf. Good job by Monstro. They're gonna get a nice charge into those Iberian. You still have a decent amount of cavalry, but I don't think it's going to be enough to contend with mine. Those Galatian Royal Guard are taking damage slowly but surely. Nubian Spear coming in the fight versus Celtiberian, but there are Qatari in there. This light cav unit is actually going to get a nice charge into the Iberian Slingers, though I will counter it with Noble Cav. Bellaric Slingers still in good shape. Fucking Monstro. He's gonna go aside and hit them hard. As you see, he wants to collapse with those Galatian Royal Guard against my general. This would be terrible, so I went in there and threw the jab volley. Qatari, they're relatively healthy, facing very, well, one shitty unit and one very battered unit. As you see, they're good move by my general. Rear charge into the Galatian Royal Guard. These guys will not withstand cav charge very well because of their relatively low armor. And I collapse on them with one Qatari and one Painted Warrior. So right there, Galatian Royal Guard getting crapped on. And he's just not ready to take on that assault by my Novel Cav. I will be able to wreck those light cav, knock down those Levitieros, at least for the most part of them, I believe. Yep. So this is not a Pochu. I'm gonna go on to his general. And as you see, with this single maneuver by general, I'm going to be able to gather a lot of kills. We are going to be at 150 before I pull them away from the Slingers. I believe all these Galatians are dead. Yep, all the Galatians are off the battlefield. So, good game to Monstro. As I said, I think his mistake was relying on few units. Maybe also it's the micro. Definitely didn't micro it as well as he normally would. But I think overall it shows that that strong unit won't always win you the battle. Sometimes it's all about the combos. It's kind of a Swebi mindset, really. Swebi is many specialty unit doing a great whole. I think this is pretty much the same thing. This would be the equivalent of the Woodenaz and Bloodthorn spam for the Swebi, really, but with Arevacii, and of course a lot shittier. But still, I really love this Arevacii build. I invite you all to try it. It's very nice to use, and you actually feel safe using this build. It's strong on all aspects. It's a very friendly build for you to use. It feels so safe, to be honest. General getting to the 200 kill. This is fantastic, and we're going to see a mass route for Monstro. So good game to you, Monstro. Me and Monstro have been playing a lot those days, and I must say he's wrecking me more than I wreck him. So I just decided to show this battle because I was happy with the performance of this Arevacii build, especially versus Monstro Egypt. Say what you want about Egypt, Monstro uses them very well. Actually, we're gonna see a battle where he wrecks me with it eventually, but for the time being, it was that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. So noble cavalry, 207 kill, that's fantastic, considering also the momentum they seized was beautiful. Was able to pin down, I think it was this Galatian. No, it was this Galatian with 181 kill. Able to pin it down and just collapse on them with both painted warriors and Scutari swords. If we take a look at Scutari spearmen, kill-wise, it was not amazing, but as you saw, they were there until the very end. These guys, they fight until the end. That's what I like with them. It makes it very useful for cycle charging and also for using mid-tier sword. If we take a look at the Scutari, 246, 116, 101, 168, 69. Very good performance by this one. The kill were definitely versus the Levitieros and shittier unit, but still pretty nice to see. If we take a look at Painted Warriors, 128, 109, this is very respectable. A lot of those kills were versus the Galatian Royal Guard. Balearic Slingers doing a good job. Not a lot of kill on those slingers, but it was so worth it because they damaged this single Galatian Royal Guard that couldn't get more than 71 kill. They damaged it so bad in the beginning of the battle, which was perfect for me. Okay, now if I take a look at the cavalry, Iberian Cav, serving their purpose really. They were used once again to pin down Galatian Royal Guard. So as you see, I had so many units ready to pin them down and etc. that it was very hard for Monstro to use them unless he had used the rest of his army perfectly. This Celtiberian Cav got completely wiped. Another Iberian Cav basically. This Celtiberian Cav did a good job. This one was used to pin down Galatian Royal Guard. Was it worth it? I don't think so. Actually, the Iberian Cavalry right there, Light Cav, got more kill on the charge versus the Galatian Royal Guard. Maybe because they were already slightly battered. But yeah, so maybe more Iberian Cav and a single elite noble Cav for late game. Let me know what you think, because I think there's value in having those guys in case he has cavalry, or even if it was Citizen Cav. Good to have them, I think. Okay, let's go over Monstro's build. Carrion Axeman, as I say, very nice build. I wouldn't think of this build at all with Egypt. I don't think I would, and it's pretty damn strong. And one thing to notice is that he only has 6 sword. No, 6, 7, 8. Nothing. Sorry about that. Okay, his cavalry getting completely wrecked. I think he used them well versus my slinger late game. It was a good move by him. His slinger getting decent kill. I think a lot of those kills were versus my own slingers though, and probably the wrong one because the Balearic are still pretty healthy. His Galatian Royal Guard, that's painful. I love you, Monstro. I love you so much. Levitieros Spears, not serving their purpose much. I can't recall being like, fuck, they're firing at my rear at all, so not a good job by them. Nubian, same thing. This single Thorax Swordsman getting decent kill, these two getting completely fucked, and these two got fucked because of the Scutari and Scutari Spearman combo. I cannot put enough emphasis on how fucking lovely the Spearmans are. I love them so much, to be honest. That awesome counter Cav tactic. They have the fucking shield wall, the javelin, everything. They're so good and so cheap, so freaking cheap. It's perfect. It's so perfect. So yeah, that was pretty much it. As you see, relatively decisive victory, but it could have went both ways, I believe, if you would have used this Galatian Royal Guard better. And I remember Monstro saying in the beginning of the battle, this is either going to be a decisive victory or a complete defeat. And I think it was not a decisive victory for him, but definitely not a complete defeat. So good game to you, Monstro. Nice build. I respect that, definitely. And I'll see you guys soon enough for a co-com with Monstro. Thank you very much. Have a lovely day.